Hello everybody, it's James Tuckerman here, and welcome to the second installment in this three-part series on how to get web traffic. Today we'll be addressing the fundamentals of traffic conversion because not all traffic is created equal, and sometimes we forget why it is that we want traffic on our websites. We'll be looking into some web copywriting techniques and outlining the 6 web copywriting essentials for conversion. And of course we'll be revealing our one big fat game changer that we alluded to, yes, ever so subtly, in part 1 and today's reminder email. I'm joined once again by my good mate, online marketing mastermind and growth hacker extraordinaire, Mark Middleton, author of the 5-Minute Business, and the guy that top 500 companies have on speed dial. I just added that bit. Mark, g'day.
Hello everyone. How are we on this Wednesday?
I think we're all pretty good. Give us a holler if you want to say g'day and test out the little box that we often use to allow people to engage with us. If you can hear us well and good and fine, just give us a little bit of a hello. Thank you, Michael. There is someone online, and there's Mackie and someone else as well too from Perth there. Yes, here we go. Arma, Michael and Mackie and Josh and a bunch of other people. Great to have you here.
Very active again, which is good.
Very active again.
That's what we like.
Yes, love the Antillians. Hey, something funny happened between last week and this week. Last week we were focusing on a bunch of different things. We covered the 3 most important factors, which we'll revisit again today. We talked about the difference between paid, earned, and owned media, which we'll also revisit very briefly today, but we largely focused on how search engines think and backlinks. By the way, if you didn't make it last week, don't worry. You're not going to, this is not, if you missed last week, you're not going to not understand what's going on today. There's going to be heaps.
Definitely.
Yeah, we'll cross back and we'll make some reminders, but don't freak out. I missed the first one. It's not going to make sense to me. Not the case. Okay?
We've sectioned it out perfectly, so it's perfect if you can jump into the second one and if you're in the first one anyway. So
that's right. So we hope that we could do it in such a way where that people wouldn't have to listen in sequence. Now, this is the funny thing. So last week we were talking about backlinks, and we were talking about clever ways to get backlinks, and dumb ways to get backlinks, and out of the blue, Mark got hit by
a dumb one. A very dumb one.
A very dumb one. Because if you want backlinks, you build your thought leadership. You become a thought leader. You offer, to contribute articles. You do all the wonderful things that we did. And what was the one that you got this week? An email.
Well, I got an email. It must have been fate that I got this email. It would have been funny if I got this the week before when I could have put it into the actual backlinking webinar that we did. But basically, I got an email from a guy who runs a credit card company, and he sent us an email. He seemed like he just wanted a tip about, for mums online, on sort of mumpreneurs, which are like online mums who, use the web to make money. So anyway, he sort of said in an email, my site, basically, and my site, socialempire.me, is highly influential in the online mum space, which is something I didn't know. But I was intrigued. And he said, he wanted to ask me for a tip for online mums if they're starting out. I said, yeah, cool. So I said, what do you want exactly? Is there any theme to it? Where do you want me to start? And then he wrote back saying, basically, what I want you to do is write a blog post on mums going into maternity leave, and then basically put a link back to his site. So I had to write a blog post, that's what I say, for my own site, and link back to his site, and his site was basically trying to get mums to sign up for credit cards.
Yeah. So this is a weird thing. Here's the email that you said. So firstly, this guy's just got like some financial site where he wants people to sign up for credit card applications.
Exactly.
And then he sent you this email, which I saw, which was terrible because it was filled with typos and spelling mistakes and other stuff. And then there was this convoluted way where in the end he was basically saying, write a blog post about something that's not to do with your business, and then link it back to my website.
Yeah, back to one of his sales pages. Corey, my business partner, got this email because he looks after all the sort of management of this stuff, and it's just a crazy way to try and get backlinks.
I think this is a very important social issue, and I'd love to see a blog post on the site that helps guide new mums and young families through the struggles of maternity leave. It was a joke. It was just hilarious, and maybe we'll make the email sequence available.
How not to get backlinks.
How not to get backlinks. There's one thing that I want to point out. Is it's very easy to be a cynic, but you know what? In the world, I've never met a successful cynic. I've met plenty of successful skeptics.
Yeah.
But I have never met a successful cynic. So Mark here, he got this thing. I'm sure his BS detectors went right up straight away. But you were curious, you replied, you were skeptical, you didn't let your cynicism go and kill it, and then it turned out the guy was a complete time waster. But it was very, very interesting. To bring this back to just the core lesson, one of the core lessons of last week, we talked about paid media, earned media, owned media. Earned media is backlinks that you earn from adding to your community, for being a thought leader, for generating social shares, which is the opposite of what this guy did. Michael's just said, worth a try, ha ha ha. Yeah, it must work with some people. Who the hell knows this? It's terrible. You may have already guessed that we love interaction and we love feedback. So some people have already begun using the little questions bar on the side of the page. We've got a lot of people online, as we do, and so we won't be able to get to everyone's questions during the webinar. But however, type them in, because hopefully we can get to them during the webinar, or we'll get to them during the question time at the end. So don't be shy about using that particular frame. If you've never participated in one of these things before, tap something out, like I don't know, what your favorite blog post, an industry leader in your space, because that's the sort of person that you probably want to be aligned with, other than some crazy credit card website that wants to get people's details to sell them credit card applications. So today, let's quickly, as an introduction of the themes today, I thought it might be useful to revisit the three most important factors. Mindset, marketing, and habits. Now, the first thing that we pointed out last week is that mindset. People think that getting traffic is hard. It's actually not so hard, as long as you're thinking about things in the right way. Today, we're going to be introducing a game changer technique that we've both used now extraordinarily successfully. In my case, to get traffic and leads, and in Mark's case, to actually get a customer within 5 days for a fictional product.
This is a crazy game changer. You have to stay with this one.
Yep, stay with
It's going to blow your mind.
Rock and roll. Market. Hang on, the little buttons have stopped working for me here. Market. Traffic is a marketing function. Never forget that traffic is a marketing function. Don't let your IT department hijack it. Take it back. And as before, I said we're going to deal with some conversion copywriting tactics as well too, and then habits. Yes, shortcuts help in the short term, and we'll definitely be providing short-term habits and sheets as we do. Ethical hacks. Hacks is another word for shortcut, but habits create a strong business in the longer term, and that's where we're going to be introducing the concept of a conversion funnel. Because it's one thing to get the traffic, it's something else to keep them. And of course, as we mentioned last week, we're going to be introducing our course. Now, this is not a big sales spiel. It's not like, one of those seminars, webinar. It's about providing genuine value and content and education. Even the bit where we talk about the course is actually an educational lesson. We've converted it into an educational lesson. A thing to just remind the people who were online last week, we said that when you've got customers, particularly in the service space, you've got three types of customers. Do it yourself, people who just want to do it themselves, people who want to do it with you, and want you to do it for them. Really helpful advice if you're a business owner, particularly if you're in the service game, to understand what type of customers want different things. So we've got plenty of people who are listening to this webinar now, and they're going to watch it, and they're going to rewatch it, and they're going to take notes, and they're going to do it themselves. There's going to be a bunch of people who are going to call up Mark and I, and they're going to say, we're going to pay you bundles of cash to do it for us, and who are we to say no? But when we talk about something like a course that we're going to bring up a little bit later, it's the type of thing that's do it with you. It's the sort of thing that we want to do it with you. And that's the last we're going to mention about that course for a really long period of time.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
Let's educate and slam ahead on the themes and the topics of today. Not all traffic is created equal.
No, it isn't.
That's the theme today. True story. I once was testing SEO techniques out, and I wrote a story called Michael Jackson is Not Dead.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How did that go?
We got listed the number one on Google, number one on Bing. Our site got absolutely smashed with traffic. And
when was this?
This was a year or two ago, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And it was exactly the wrong type of traffic for our business website. And it messed with all our metrics and conversions. Not all traffic is created equal. It was a lot of traffic, and it was a lot of bad traffic. So I want to pose the question, who has a conversion strategy? Who has a conversion strategy? Now, if you've used the little chat function, use it again. You can either say yes, no, or what?
We're talking about web conversion.
Yep, a web conversion strategy.
Not a conversion strategy if you're out in the day.
Pascal's got one, yes. Greg does not. DJ says not yet. Kathy says not yet. Anyone just going, what?
Yeah, like, what?
What?
Who?
Marie says no.
I do.
Yes, I do. Good on you, Nick. Hey, by the way, how's our audio? How's our audio?
Is it good?
Is Mark much louder than me, or am I much louder than him?
Audio awesome.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. I've got a bit of a booming voice, and Mark's sort of like, this subtle, gentle creature. So we need to be careful about our audio. Both the same. Thanks, Richard. That's great. So, what is a web conversion strategy? Well, you can have a website that gets lots of traffic and does nothing for your business.
Yeah, exactly. Every client I speak to, they always say, I want to be number one on Google for everything. And what's the point if your website doesn't convert? What's the point in spending so much money on getting the website to number one on Google and doing all these SEO techniques if at the end of the day your website's just no good? It doesn't convert.
Or if you're getting Michael Jackson fans when you really want business owners.
Exactly.
So what we've done is we've put together, we sat down and we went, what is the optimal web conversion strategy? And to kick things off, we thought, what would when you're stuck with a question about what to do in business, what's the first thing that you ask? What would Barry do?
That's a good question. What would he do?
What would Barry do? Anyone? What would Barry do? If traffic is marketing, what would Barry do?
Serenade you in sweet nothings.
He would. He would make sweet love to it. Thank you, Josh. Kathy said sings, and Karen said, who the hell is Barry? That's Barry White, who unfortunately has left this planet of ours, I think.
Oh, it is unfortunate.
Yeah, too many cheeseburgers. But he was a love crooner of the 70s and 80s. He wrote songs that people fell in love to.
Yeah.
Shall I say?
His voice was mesmerising, wasn't it?
What would Barry do? Well, Josh has said make sweet love to it. I'll tell you what he would do. If traffic is marketing, what would Barry do? He would develop a seduction strategy. He would develop a seduction strategy. Now, I've called this the coffee to marriage strategy, but you're a little bit more Gen Y than I.
Yeah. I say, you don't try and score on the first date.
Don't try and score on the first date. Barry probably would because, that's the type of dude he is.
He is Barry White.
He's Barry White. But here's the funny thing, you look at people with their websites and they're spending money on AdWords like there's no tomorrow. They're putting ads on television and radio and they're all pointing to their websites and they're doing all this other stuff. And then someone lands on their website and they're basically saying, marry me, marry me. And I don't know. I mean, you're a single guy, Mark, and if a wonderful girl comes up to you in a bar, you're chatting, the chemistry is happening, it's all going really well. You might even be thinking, I could spend the rest of my life with this person. And then she says to you, Mark, we're getting along really well. Will you marry me? What do you do?
Yeah, I get a bit freaked out.
You would run the other way. I don't know if anyone on the line is just listening going, yes, I would run the other way.
If it was Megan Fox, or
I think you still would. I think even if Jessica Alba came up, you'd think twice. So, who's the latest James Bond? Daniel Craig.
Yeah, Daniel Craig.
So, women on the line, you're on the beach, Daniel Craig walks out of the ocean with a body that looks like a bag of walnuts, and you walk out of the ocean, he says, will you marry me? You would still probably run. And this is what people do with their websites. They have these websites that basically the moment someone gets there, there's these flashing buttons that say buy, or for the service game, the B2B game, contact us. The worst button I think ever invented, the contact us button.
Yeah.
Contact us. Does that sound a little bit desperate? Contact me. I don't know. So when we look at conversion strategies and traffic and how that fits into the picture of traffic, we're looking at, yes, a funnel. Sales professionals understand the funnel, and that's what we're looking at. So it starts off with something like traffic. Last week we talked about off-page strategies like getting backlinks onto your site, and we also mentioned spending big bucks on advertising.
Yeah, and we talked about, putting content on, Web 2.0 profiles, and, that's the best way to get traffic to your website. And, that does have the backlinking SEO effect, but the first benefit is actually the traffic you get from them.
Yeah, so we talked about having social buttons, using, leveraging your relationship with Google and Google+. We talked about contributing articles to other people's websites. We talked about creating press releases that get backlinks and then also interest other people. We talked about a whole bunch of different things. They're off-page strategies. On-page strategies we touched on, and they are things like the site structure, the site and speed of the site, and where the keywords are placed.
Yep.
So Google's looking at that. And the keyword placement is something that we're going to be dealing with in the third installment when we're talking about how to pick keywords and how to place keywords, and don't do all the dumb things that SEO consultants, that all the SEO consultants,
try and tell you to do.
Try and tell you to do. So many get it wrong. By the way, Kathy's just said, I'm thinking about my response to Daniel Craig's proposal. Don't think I would say no immediately. Just saying.
Depends on the look in his eye.
Yeah, exactly. When someone hits your website, someone looks at your website, that they hit your website, they've got about 30 seconds whether to decide whether they're, not even 30 seconds, about 2.3 seconds before they whether want to stick around or not.
Well, our attention spans just decreased so much over the last 20 years that even less, 5 years, it's just crazy. People look at the site and they've made their mind up in a couple of seconds and see you later.
And bounce. And the other thing as well too is face-to-face, there's this effort, there's this social obligation that I have to listen to what it is that you say.
Yeah.
Even if I've established in 2.5 seconds that you're wasting my time. Online that doesn't happen. Traffic, Kathy's also mentioned that hash Traffictober is happening for people who like to use Twitter. Hash Traffictober is a Twitter handle. So next week we're going to be dealing with keyword placement and some other things. Traffic, largely we've been talking about earned media. Now, someone buying an ad is paid media, but getting backlinks is largely earned media when we talked about earned, owned, and paid media. So most people start with the traffic. They can spend a whole lot of money on getting that traffic, which is paid media, or they can do some clever things, which we talked about last week, and that becomes earned media. So it's earned traffic through backlinks, through social, through search engine optimization. So people start with traffic. But here's the missing link. Between the sales, the traffic and the sales, there should, in theory, be at least one, if not a sequence of events which allows you and your organization to build a rapport. So I don't know if you recognize any of these things on the list here, but an email newsletter, offering a download, offering a webinar registration, asking people to sign up for your RSS feeds.
You really have to build that trust.
Build that trust. So we're not asking someone to marry us on the first date. We're inviting them out for a coffee.
Yeah, you show them what you know. Give them as much value as possible.
That's right, and build rapport and be generous with your knowledge.
Yeah.
And don't hold back. Don't be thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to hold the secrets till later. Go out, share the most awesome bits that you can possibly have, and start building that rapport. That there is owned media, because when someone registers for your email newsletter or for your email series or for your 3-part webinar, you generally are acquiring an email address. And that there is owned traffic. So owned traffic is such as having an email address or something like that.
And it's the highest converting form of online marketing, email, still.
Yeah, wow.
So if you're not collecting an email list, then you're missing out on a huge portion of profit there.
It used to be we used to rent the attention from a media organisation and we used to buy the ad and then the relationship was over. Now if we rent the attention or if we earn the attention, if we pay for it, we earn it, we then go about collecting the attention of that audience and they become owned media. Hey, by the way, a moment ago I just said adding real value. Maria has said testimonial. I changed a few things last week from what you said and immediately made an extra few $1,000s this week.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Ooh. And Maria's put in her last name too, Maria Alita, and then a smiley face. That is great news. We love to hear that. And then, of course, we've got the end goal, which is the sales. Now, some people have got a credit card facility on their website, but you know what? You might not do online sales. You might not be a B2B person. So the end goal might be a meeting request, a booking, getting someone to download a coupon that they can take into your coffee shop or sporting goods shop. We're getting something that we can measure through this funnel, getting the traffic, building the rapport, giving them something that they can register, that we can measure. Because once we can measure it, we can work out some important things like how much money we can spend on stuff like this.
Yeah. It really gives you an idea how much time you can spend on it as well. You know?
Time and money.
Time and money, those two important things.
So in the coffee to marriage thing here, you know, everyone thinks about the traffic and everybody thinks about the sales. But you know what? There's a step in the middle that should not be overlooked. The other important thing about this, and you always say to me, Mark, what do you say to me? You're looking at me like I'm a crazy man. You say it's all in the numbers?
Yeah, it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game.
When you're talking about conversion strategies, once you start to know, how much you can spend and, what percentage your landing page is converting at, then that's when you can say, okay, it's all a numbers game. We can spend X amount to make X amount.
Exactly. And then that suddenly gives clarity in your business. So this begs the question, how much can you spend to acquire one visitor? And we're talking about return on investment, which is the holy grail of marketing.
It's the most important thing. And with online, that's where you can completely measure the entire process.
Because they used to say, I know that half my advertising works, I just don't know which half.
Yep.
Now if someone said that to me, with a twinkle and a laugh in their eye, I would point at the door and I would say, get walking. Because that's just not the way that it now works. So if that begs the question in terms of what's the conversion, here's a hypothetical scenario of a business. Now this is hypothetical, it's not real, it's not real data. You would have to measure this and see how it translates back to your own site. So say you have something like 1,000 visitors, and 1,000 visitors triggers 100 leads, such as someone subscribing for a newsletter or downloading a digital item or something like that. And then, if those 100 leads translates to 10 sales, or if you're in the B2B game, maybe it translates to 20 meetings that translates to 10 sales. Once again, we ask that question, how much can you spend to acquire one visitor? Yep, we're talking return on investment. So we put together two sort of like common and simple case studies to really hammer this home about how it might work with most common businesses, and then we've got some tools to help you on your way. Case studies. So B2C is a business to consumer, and B2B is a business to business. So business to consumer, we've got a business that's selling, what's it selling, Mark?
Handbags.
Handbags. And
that's your other business, isn't it?
What's that?
That's your other business.
That's my other business. I don't sell handbags, but I do sell a lot of unusual things through side ventures. Like one of them was Lawn Bowls products.
Oh, really?
On Facebook for a while. But recommended retail price for a handbag, $500. The women on the line or the men who have man bags can tell us whether that's unreasonable or not. But I don't think that that's unreasonable for most.
Yeah, I guess it depends where you shop.
Handbags. Yeah.
We'll just say these guys are upper class.
Yep. Margin. if it's a physical product, the margin on something like a wholesale product, I pretty much know that if a handbag goes into Myer or David Jones, they expect to take a 50% margin on it. So they will buy it from the supplier for $250 and they'll sell it for $500. Which means that if you're selling it online, you cannot undercut David Jones or your suppliers, which means that you would have a 50% margin on what it is that you sell. By the way, quick shout out, anyone on the line at the moment that's selling like a physical product? Anything that will give you a yell, give you a shout out? Could be yes books. Someone has said yes books. What's the link there? Art, right? Not any more digital products. Right, there we go. Jewelry. Motorcycle parts and accessories. Hey, Fee Collins. What's your brand? We'll give you a shout out. Busy typing, trying to get the URL. SavageSociety.com.au as t-shirts.
Check out those t-shirts.
Ballads Off-Roaders, Fee Collins. So that there is someone who's selling a physical product. And next to it, we have a scenario where someone might be selling a service game, and we've chosen the example of public relations. We'll run through these individually. So if you're selling handbags, 100 sales for you based on that margin is a $25,000 profit. That makes sense, yeah?
Yep.
100 times 250 is $25,000. So the next logical question is the the assumption is the break even to acquire. What's the break even to acquire 10,000 visitors? 10,000 visitors, bringing them through our hypothetical funnel, 10,000 would go to 1,000 leads, which would go to 100 sales. In that scenario, the cost for acquiring a lead, once again, completely hypothetical, would be
$2.50.
$2.50. B2B, public relations, say you got like a 3-month contract and it's 2K to 3K a month. That's 6,000 to 9,000 for that particular client or customer. Let's once again assume that the margin is 50% on that. Service game, that's a little bit different, a little bit harder to quantify. Sometimes the margin's big, sometimes the margin's small, sometimes it's very big. But let's say it's 50%. 10 customers to break even, 10 customers would in that instance equal 30K to 45K. So once again, what would be the break even to acquire 1,000 visitors based on a funnel of 1,000 visitors, 100 leads, 10 sales? It actually in that instance works out to be
$30.
$30.
Spend $30
on a visitor.
Yeah,
which would be a silly amount of money to spend on one visitor.
But you could do it if you're using Google AdWords.
Yes, you definitely.
Sometimes you can spend $30 a click.
Oh yeah, okay. If you're not paying attention.
Yeah.
The main thing there that you need to get your head around is that you need to understand those key point metrics, such as traffic, leads generated, conversions. Because then once you understand the metrics and the percentages, you can start to deviate and tweak and change what it is that you're doing. And then suddenly your traffic is being useful. You also start to see which traffic is helping you out, because not all traffic is created equal. The Michael Jackson fans are wasting your time. And that will also allow you to refine your keywords, which we're going to cover next week, because the keywords will dictate the type of people that are bringing to your site here. But if you look at this and you know this sort of data, say you're in the B2B game, you can look at this and you can go, well, if I do what I'm supposed to do, and I do it well and I do it right, 1,000 visitors will lead to 10 sales. Or however many visitors will lead to 10 sales. And you can look at it and you can go, I can spend 30 grand on getting 10 new customers. If you've got the ROI systems in place and you know your return, you can go, I can spend 30 grand on getting new customers. I can spend that on ads or relaunching my website or running a campaign, as long as I understand the metrics and I'm measuring it. If you're at the handbag site, you can go, I can spend $25,000. This is called closed loop marketing, where you can track for every dollar you spend the return that you're going to get. But it requires an understanding of this particular tool,
Google Analytics.
Google Analytics. If you do not have Google Analytics on your website yet, that's your first piece of homework.
Yes, definitely. And I mean, when you start to get these numbers as well, you can set website goals. So you can say, we want to achieve a conversion rate of, 10%, and we want to pay only, $2 per visitor.
Yeah, if you're using AdWords,
and
you can set up benchmarks and you can track yourself, and it almost ends up like playing a computer game.
It does,
because you can measure your performance and compare. But as a baseline, one, you get to find out who your traffic is, what keywords are bringing them in, and what keywords are delivering you leads and what keywords are delivering you customers, and you can come up with the sort of metrics that allow you to create something like a funnel like that. So in this world here, to bring it back to that particular scenario, we've got our traffic, which leads to which leads to leads, which leads to sales, and the missing part in most people's equation is this bit in the middle, the leads bit. It's the bit in the middle. Even if you're spending money on AdWords and backlinks and all this other stuff, funneling people to your website, then you just, 99% of the time, you're just going to lose them because you're asking them to marry you on the first date. So our little tips for what you need to get together in your arsenal of materials to conquer that little bit in the middle, leads, are what we call lead magnets, landing pages, and success pages. Now, this is a complete strategy for another day. We can't cover it now because it's too complex. But
yeah, you could do a whole day on it.
You can do a whole day on it. But Mark, what's a lead magnet?
Basically, a lead magnet is a legal bribe.
An ethical bribe.
An ethical bribe, to get someone to give you their email address.
Yeah, it's a quid pro quo. I'm going to give you something awesome, and in return,
you're going to give me your email address.
You're going to give me your email address, and we're going to start a relationship. And I'm going to buy you a coffee.
Yep.
But I'm not going to ask you to marry me.
Definitely not going to ask you to marry me.
What's a landing page?
Well, your landing page is where you offer that lead magnet and you collect the email address.
Which is distinct from a home page, because a home page is an absolutely terrible page for converting people.
It is. Generally on a home page you get really low conversions, but if you create a good landing page, you keep it simple with just the offer and obviously the opt-in form, that's when you get some really high conversions.
So imagine you're walking down the street and 10 people are handing leaflets at you. That's kind of what most home pages are like.
Exactly.
But a nice, elegant landing page has got one message and it's saying, download this awesome thing, sign up for my webinar. It's got one message and it focuses on that one message. And sales pages should also take the form of a landing page as well too.
Exactly. It's not, there's no navigation. They can't click on and go to YouTube. They can't go to other parts of your website. It's just simple. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. So it's a page within your site. And the other thing is a success page. A success page is normally a page that happens after your landing page. Someone signs up for your webinar and there's a page that happens after and it says success and it offers another action, which is another way to build rapport.
And it's the thank you page. And that's important for Google Analytics as well, because that's where you start to set your goals. If someone hits that page, that means they've converted to a goal.
That's right. So when you're looking at your Google Analytics, that's how you set up your goal conversions at the end of your Google Analytics.
So it's essential.
Shane. But as we said, that's a bigger lesson for another day. But you should seriously start thinking about those things because they make a seriously big difference. There they are. Lead magnets, landing pages, success pages. The success page is like McDonald's saying, would you like fries with that?
Yeah.
Someone's chosen to engage with you. You're working together, you're doing stuff. Yeah, they've decided to trust you, and there's momentum happening.
Yeah.
So ask them to engage with you in a deeper and more thorough way and build that rapport. Be like Barry White.
Yeah.
Start your seduction.
Could you imagine a Barry White landing page?
I don't know, maybe we should take it to the next level. We'll build a whole website around it. Right. Now, Maria says, is it better to have that landing page have its own domain that directly says what they're going to get that's different to the website? I'm glad you asked that, Maria, because we are actually heading in a direction to answer that exact question for you.
Jump the gun.
You jumped the gun. So what if my site strategy is simply broken? So you've just looked at this whole thing and we've talked about Google Analytics and we've talked about funnels and we've talked about you creating landing pages and this whole bit, and there's part of your brain that's just going, oh my God, if I want to tweak my website, I have to pay my developer $150 an hour. If I want to do any of this stuff, I have to, the sorts of things that are going in your mind.
And they never get it right first time anyway. You've got a picture in your head of what you want.
Yeah.
You give it to them and it comes out like dog's breakfast, and then it goes into the too hard basket, basically. Someone else has to do it.
Yeah. Well, the things that we tend to have, you speak to someone, you talk about their websites, and so they're too damn old. A CMS system is an expression called a content management system. That helps you put up blog posts and whatever and that sort of stuff.
Gives you flexibility.
So, but there are some really bad old content management systems.
Some terrible ones out there.
And it's just too damn old, and I just don't have the flexibility they need. It's been hijacked by my web developers. I simply don't have the skills to do all those sorts of things.
What you got to remember with web developers, they're web developers. They're not marketers.
They're not marketers. So we talked about the game changer, and this is what we did. This is the one thing that we did the one thing that Mark or I did that in the last 2 months that we just went, wow, that rocks. But it also answers the question that we're often asked, what would you do if you were able to start again? So we're going to show you exactly what we were able to do if we start again, and we even said it before, we will take you through the steps if we had to build a website from scratch. Now this is a radical thing to do at 35 minutes into a webinar, but it sort of outlines sometimes how simple these things can really, really be. Let's have a look at this. Game changer. What would you do if you were able to start again? Well, here's 2 true stories. One is called the Leads Machine. 3 months ago, I launched a website. 3 months ago, I launched basically almost like a single page or dual page website called entrepreneurship.com.au, and I'll show you the link in a minute. What was kind of amazing about this is that it actually not only increased my traffic, but Anthill as a brand generates about 300 leads a month, and it increased our leads to 900 leads a month. So here's the game changer that we're about to talk about. Not only got my business traffic, and we already do really well. 300 leads a month is amazing, right?
People would love that.
Yeah, most people would absolutely die for that. And we went from 300 to 900 in Australia, which is not even that big, and we did that in a month. That's the true story. That's the Leads Machine. That was the way that I used this technique. And then Mark and I had the new product launch. Yeah,
well, we basically were preparing for this webinar, and we came up with a keyword, and we built a website around it. And then we built the website. I think we spoke about it last week, but within 5 days, I'd forgot about it, and I'd set up the payment gateways and the products. It was a pretty average website, and within 5 days, I suddenly got a PayPal notification that I'd made some money from it.
$99 in your bank account.
Yeah, someone had actually purchased one of the products.
So this is a crazy thing. We sat down to do a bit of a jam, a knowledge sharing jam. We built a new website in pretty much 50 minutes. We used bad images, bad copy, but we managed it in all the good ways that we're going to talk about, and we have been talking about. And within a matter of days, it was ranked 3rd on Google according to the keywords that we'd chosen. And because the traffic was so strong, we triggered our first sale.
Triggered a sale. It had dummy content in there. It looked terrible.
Yeah. And so we had to quickly call up this guy. Well, Mark had to call up this guy and refund his money and say, watch this space. So we've mentioned in this course a few times now that, hey, is the next slide showing up? It should say, we've mentioned that not all traffic is created equal. Just notice that the next slide has not come up. On your screen right now, does it say not all traffic is created equal? It is working. Okay, it's just our test screen. So we've said a few times during this that not all traffic is created equal, right? Not all keywords are created equal either. And SEO advisors tend to send people down the garden path. And we're going to remedy that situation next week. But as an extension of that, not all domains are created equal. Not all domains are created equal. So we're talking about URLs and website names. So what's some examples of that? What do I mean by that? What are some of the things? Well, get this. I know a really terrible domain, really ugly name that no one would ever search for when they're looking for business advice and knowledge. and it's called Anthill. The name that my brand has been built on over 10 years is a terrible name
for a web domain,
for a web domain for the purposes of search engine optimization. Toy Boy. Now, Toy Boy was a brand that actually really initiated this webinar series because I got an email from a guy, and he basically said, I've built this big, expensive website, and I'm not getting any traffic. He was doing a couple different things wrong, and I'd spent far too much money on a developer. And he came up with the word Toy Boy, and of course Mark has changed his name because the word Middleton is bad. Now Michael has just said a very important thing. He said brandability in a domain is way more important than something that is just a keyword domain. That is very true. That is very true, Michael. But what we've discovered and what we're doing in this particular strategy is what we've devised is something that we are calling a satellite site. So in our first webinar, someone asked, they said, I've got a Shopify website. Should I keep my Shopify website together with my blog?
Yep.
And we came back and said, why don't you split the two? Why don't you split the two, right? Because when you create a URL, a website based on a thrilling keyword like entrepreneurship.com.au, or a one like I'll show you the one that we created for WordPress. We basically just gave ourselves a red hot injection in terms of traffic boost. Now, there's a couple things here. A couple of things here. So Michael said something people will remember. Yes, Anthill is far more memorable than entrepreneurship.com.au, but however, it doesn't rank well.
Yeah.
And, people aren't going to find it. So there's a couple of observations here. One, the first thing, when we start talking about satellite sites, the most interesting thing is, for me, is that all those different things that we talked about before where people were like thinking, my site's too damn old.
Yeah.
It's been hijacked by my web developers. All this other stuff.
TFG, too far gone. The old website.
It's too far gone. When we talk about a satellite website, we're basically making, the assumption here that a satellite website can either be run as a new website to replace what it is that you've done,
yep,
or it could be, to complement what it is that to complement what you have, or to replace what you have, or as a stepping stone to replace what you have. They say, it's been hijacked by my web developers. If you create something new, there are simple ways to get around that, and the main one, I think some of you are going to guess where we're going with that. I simply don't have the skills, or I don't have the budget. Are you sure? You're talking to a guy, as you heard in the first webinar, that came from the Luddite mindset, dragged kicking and screaming, and took it to the next level by investing in a cheap as chips blog,
yep,
and took it to the next level. So the two examples that we talked about before, one is called entrepreneurship.com.au. It's so simple and so mind-blowingly obvious to me that when I was able to get my hands on that URL, that is being searched for 1.9 million times a bloody month or something. That was a smart thing for me to do, to acquire that and build something on top of it. The game changer for us when we actually started to sell product for a service that didn't exist was WordPress.support.australia.com.au.
Yep.
What do these two things have in common? Well, here's two other websites that have something in common with these websites.
And these are branded websites.
These are branded websites.
Are separate entities. Separate entities. In a certain way.
In a certain way. AntillOnline.com and SocialEmpire.me. Does anyone recognise those? Does anyone recognise those? Of course you do. Because one of them is Mark's website, one of them is my website. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, everybody. So what do these have in common? Does anyone want to have a guess what these have in common? Take a punt.
They're awesome.
They're awesome.
They
look really good.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're responsive design, which means that they look great on mobile phones. They say what you want. Well, Anthill Online doesn't really. but the two definitely do. Different names for the same service. I'll tell you what, these are all WordPress websites. I'll tell you what, sometimes the most game changers are sometimes the simplest and obvious things to do. WordPress websites. If you're online and use a WordPress website, give us a hallelujah. If you can't spell it, just write yay or huzzah or something like that. Give us a hallelujah. Yes, someone just said, all capital letters.
Hallelujah.
How many, what percentage of websites in the world do you think, Mark, are on WordPress? I think that you know better than I do.
I think it's over 50% now.
Over 50% of all websites in the world are built on WordPress. Why is WordPress cool?
It is the ultimate content management system for anybody. Anyone can pick it up and start using it. It's clean. The code's written very clean, so it's just it's perfect. Google loves it.
Yeah, and people are writing huzzah, huzzah, hallelujah. See, yes, we. Oh, we've got a we. Thank you, Hannah. Yes, with a smiley face. Yes, it's the best, said someone. Yeah, and we'll run through some of the benefits, but when we're talking back to some of the things that we were talking about, mindset and market and habits, when you talk about mindset, we overcomplicate things. WordPress is an open source system. It means that it's got developers from all around the world constantly making it better all the time. It also means that when, if I take it to the next item, that's mindset. The second one was marketing. Websites are a marketing function. When your web developer starts to drive you crazy, you're not bound to the person with these invisible handcuffs.
Yeah. You go full flexibility.
Full flexibility.
You can add anything to what you want to it, basically.
And chop and change between developers.
Yeah.
And then of course habits. Basically, there's lots of techniques that have been tutorials, websites, and all the other stuff around the world to help you get the habits right, to turn that into something awesome. Because we did mention last time that HubSpot report that basically said someone who blogs, if they had a blog, they got 12 times more traffic and 4 times more leads than their nearest competitor. And it's amazing.
Considering that WordPress was just originally made as a blog engine, and that just shows one of the reasons why it gets so much, Google loves it and it gets so much traffic, because that's what its heart is, a blog engine.
Yeah, and it was a big mental jump for me when someone first suggested to me in 2008, 2009 that we go onto WordPress, because I was like, oh, we're a serious business. We need our big, expensive content management system. Well, we went on and we've never looked back. And some of the most amazing websites in the world. One of my favorite, Mashable, is built on WordPress and some others. So, what would you do if you needed to start again? I'm going to break this down really, really simply. Take out a pen and paper and write this down. This is quite literally how we create new websites, how we created the WordPress Support Australia website in under an hour and some other things, okay? It's a 5-step process. You choose a domain, you buy a domain, you put it on a hosting site, you create a WordPress site, and you buy and install a theme. Okay. Choose a domain. We're not going to go into that today. That is a keyword question.
Yep.
And we're going to show you the shortcuts that we ran through we're going to show it next week, how we worked through the process of devising the perfect domain for a satellite site or a brand new business site or whatever it is if you want to do it that way. Choose a domain, so we'll talk about that next week. Buy a domain. There's absolutely no one on this webinar that does not know how to buy a domain.
Yep.
You go onto GoDaddy or somewhere and you fork out your $10.
It's easy.
It's too easy. Hosting a site usually comes with, as part of the package of buying your domain. They usually offer you something to go with it.
Yep.
But Mark's got a belief with it about keeping.
Yeah, I believe that when you host a site, you should go with a specific hosting company. We'll provide a few next week that you can use because these people specialise in hosting, and one of the most important things is that your hosting is fast. And it stays up.
And they pick up the phone. But there's benefits to having your domain, your hosting, and your email managed by 3 different people.
Yeah.
Because if one goes down,
it doesn't affect the other. If your domain goes down, it's going to affect all of it. But if, say, your email goes down, it's not. Your website goes down, it's not going to affect your email.
But if we're talking about speed and what have you, you can buy a domain and get the hosting package right then and there.
Yep.
The next one is that we've got here is create your WordPress site and then buy and install a theme. So creating your WordPress site this is absolutely mind-bogglingly crazy easy, right? This is how Mark showed me. So basically, we bought a theme. We bought a domain.
Yep.
And we opened up our hosting account on HostGator, which has these baby-style packages for like, $15 a month and that sort of stuff,
yeah,
right?
You end up spending about $80 for the year on hosting, and it costs you nothing.
That's right. And he took me into the cPanel, and we clicked this box, this button called Fantastico Deluxe.
Yep. This allows you to just install things with basically one click, so you can install WordPress and all different types of apps. It will do it all for you, so you don't have to do anything manual. It's just a couple of clicks. Someone's
asking an important question, and they're asking about duplicating content. We're not suggesting that you duplicate content across multiple sites.
Yeah, you create new.
Because that's bad. What we're doing is we're creating something of value to complement your existing website, or start from scratch and ditch the dodgy website that you already have, and do it properly from the outset using something like WordPress. So Pascal has said, if I have a site called Doggy Dozing, let's say, which sells dog beds, if I buy a domain set up in WordPress and call it dogbeds.com with similar content, am I going to run into problems from Google duplicate content? The answer is that you don't run duplicate content across those sites. We're not suggesting that you create multiple phantom sites or hundreds of sites. Entrepreneurship.com.au for me is a resource site for entrepreneurial tools, and that is the focus of that particular site. You go there, you download tools, it's branded Anthill, but it provides me with an opportunity to introduce people to my core brand, which is Anthill, through emails and newsletters, and that becomes owned content for me. If you've got a Shopify business and you're selling dog beds, or you've got like some e-commerce business selling dog beds, maybe create your blog called Sleeping Dogs, or something like that, right? And then that's all about helping your dogs sleep well at night. Gotcha. Thank you. So you press this button that says Fantastico Deluxe, and it gives you another link called a new installation, and whammo, you've got yourself a Virgin WordPress website. And this is what a WordPress website looks like. That's the back end. That's the back end. The front end of a Virgin WordPress website looks like this.
So as soon as you install it, this is what will pop up. Basically, just a standard theme that they have, and you've got a website up in a couple of clicks.
Yep.
That's always a cool thing.
Yep, and this here is basically one that we created called What is WordPress, because we discovered from our searches that What is WordPress is an amazingly high searched traffic term. But once again, we'll talk about keywords next week. And it looks pretty boring, doesn't it? For anyone who's not familiar with WordPress, it's a really, really simple thing that even my 7-year-old dad can manage. He knows how to create a post.
But you said
like a blog post.
7-year-old dad.
7-year-old dad, yeah.
Young dad.
we own a time machine. And pages. The distinction here is a page is something like about us.
Yep.
Doesn't change much.
Static.
Posts are things like check out this new thing. Now, we talked last week at Google loves frequency and recency, so they like you to be updating your website all the time or your blog post. It makes it very easy. Plugins. These are all the things where you look at my website or Mark's website and you go, gee, I'd love to have those social media buttons next to my blog post. Because it's open source, there are a gazillion, million, trillion plugins out there that you can add to your WordPress website that are generally free. Most of them are free, and they just add that awesome feature that you always wanted. And one of them is Yoast, which is a search engine optimization tool that's built right into WordPress, even though WordPress is already SEO optimized.
It basically tells you exactly what to do. Hold your hand throughout the way.
But appearance here, for the purpose of today, we just wanted to show how easy some of these things is for the purpose, we want to introduce this concept called themes. Right here we have the default theme. In our little scenario here, when we were showing what it is that we're doing, we talk about 5, buy, install a theme. And there's a brilliant site called Theme Forest. I was absolutely overwhelmed to discover that this is an Australian business, and this is a website that has nothing but WordPress themes.
You know, what you got to remember with people get a bit funny when they hear about themes, but when it comes to a theme, these guys who make these themes are some of the best designers in the world, and what it allows them to do is create a generic theme and then sell it en masse in a marketplace. So these guys make hundreds of thousands of dollars on these, and it's worth doing it rather than having to make custom sites for different clients. So you're getting a quality website here. It's not just like a theme from Wix or, you know, Weebly or something like that. These are quality made sites.
And, you know, they can look all sorts of different shapes and sizes and views. It's pretty much an endless thing. So in our world, we would go to WordPress and we would probably try and find something that we liked that represented our space, such as retail, and then we would have a look at, this is a medical one for it's a medical one there. Here's one that looks like it's agriculture. Have a play around. But here's the way it works. You buy it for $55, $55, $45. This one's rated quite highly and it's got 64 sales. You buy it, you install it the same way that you often upload anything. You hit the upload feature, you find your file, you browse it, you upload it. And Mark and I uploaded this new one earlier called Enfold. I'm going to hit this button called Activate because it's already uploaded. And here's the website that we were looking at here.
We need to change.
Right, we need to change one more thing.
Just go down to
right. Reading.
Change front page.
Aha. Static. All right. When you download a theme, it comes with a. Do I want to do that? Sample page. Home page.
Yeah.
That one.
No. Top one.
That one. Okay. When you buy a theme, it comes with a PDF that basically explains the nuances of the specific theme that you've got.
Yep.
And because a lot of themes have extra features. So someone says, I want my theme to be a shop. I want my theme to be a community. I want my theme to be a forum. So they come with extra features. And I just refreshed that page. And this is a theme that, how much did you spend on this one?
It was $45. And, you know, this sort of theme looks like it could have cost $50,000.
Yeah.
You know, and all you need to do now is just update the copy, update the content, and change the images.
Change the images.
Happy days.
And finesse it so that these things match, you know, what it is that you do. That's your logo over there, top left. And it's responsive, which means that if it's on a, you know, if it's on different size devices, it's going to look good. See, I've just shrunk it down so it looks good on different devices. That's what I mean by a responsive design. That there is what we would do if we needed to start again. We would basically, if we had a crummy website that just was no longer doing what it should be doing, we would go out and we would pretty much go onto Theme Forest and spend $35 and start again. Because ladies and gentlemen, here is a massive reveal. Antillonline.com, which most of you are familiar with, a lot of you spend a lot of time there. It's a radically high converting website. It is a $35 Theme Forest theme.
There it is.
There it is. There it is. Our first incarnation was a $900 transformation. Our second was a $35 theme, and then probably about another $500 worth of custom work. Does that blow your mind? I hope that blows your mind. Tell you what, it still blows my mind. Struth. Yeah, thank you. Some other people have said it's crazy easy to use, and some other things as well too. So that's what we do. So we've talked about that we're going to run a course, a do it with me course, not a do it yourself. If you want to do it yourself, watch this sort of stuff, pick out the bits, research it, do it yourself. It's not a do it for you. You know, we're not consultants where, you know, you can hire us and we do this sort of stuff. You can. Call us up and Mark will build you an amazing website for about $30,000. All right, and you will get amazing value for money.
It'll convert.
And it will convert. And we looked at some metrics before. You know, we gave a hypothetical public relations person. That was like a Was that 30,000?
Yeah, 30,000.
10 sales is 30,000. There you go. There's a clear ROI. Yes, Maria, that's smart. Someone says that's smart. So what I'm going to introduce to you is this is the course that we're going to run. And as far as I'm aware, no one in Australia is running anything like this. And we're going to invite people to come into a room, and for over a 3-day period, we're going to start from scratch, and we're going to either help them build a brand new website, which is going to be the primary website of their business, or a satellite website so that they can start really rocking their conversion strategy. Here's the thing, though. I hate it when I get on a webinar and someone starts to sell their stuff at me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to provide conversion copy strategies and tactics. In fact, I'm going to reveal what I think are the six most important things that you need on your website if you want your website to convert. And I'm going to use this lesson to articulate the value of the particular course that Mark and I are putting together. Yeah?
It's a science, conversions, web conversions. You can buy yourself a theme from Theme Forest, but at the end of the day, it's still not going to convert.
Someone has just said, I was thinking of spending $20,000 next year over 12 months on a national publicist. I'm thinking now, that's mad. And someone else has also just said, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, when we run through the benefits of this course, remember what you just said about hiring a publicist, because we want to make things easy as possible so that you don't have to spend all those ridiculous amounts of money on all those other things. We don't, and we don't think you should too. So here are the 6 things. Here are the 6 things, right? The first thing that I want you to get your head around is what I'm about to talk through is Marketing 101. If you have a web page on your website, or if even I just visit your homepage, there are 3 things that I'm going to want to know the answer to pretty damn quickly. And those are these 3 things. I want to know who's the target market, i.e. is it me? What headache am I likely to have that you can solve? This is a no-brainer. If I go to your website and I can't understand who your target market is, that's an issue. If your target market is largely lawyers, make sure when someone gets to your page, it says something like, hey, if you're a lawyer, or an image of a lawyer, or a top tips for lawyers, or whatever it's going to be. So the target market for us in this instance is anyone who has ever spent $3,000 to $30,000 on a website and is pretty much dissatisfied by the whole experience. Yep. Now, why do I say $3,000 to $30,000? Because if you spent less than $3,000, you're probably not serious about this sort of stuff. And I don't think you can. Even the best people are not going to get you anything good for $3,000. But most 3,000 websites will buy a platform which is different to an awesome machine.
Yeah.
It's different to the sort of things that is going to be, I don't know, a good website is like a 24-hour, 7 days a week sales machine. It must be booking meetings, filling meeting rooms, tracking sales, getting people to download coupons, all the other stuff, right? So so we say $3,000 to $30,000. $3,000 is going to get you a website. Under $3,000, you're not going to get anything of value. But why do we cap it at the sort of people who are going to buy a website for over $30,000? If you're in the business of paying over $30,000 for a website, you're probably the type of person that wants someone else to do it. And you've probably got team members and infrastructure and all the other stuff that goes with it. And they're complicated factors that we just don't want to deal with because we like dealing with people who are progressive and hands-on and proactive and passionate.
Exactly. And if you spend $30,000 on a website, you're sort of hoping that it's a full-time salesperson because, what does a full-time salesperson cost you these days? Pretty expensive.
A lot more than that.
So, but at the end of the day, you can end up spending $30,000 on a website thinking that it will be that because you bought it off web developers. But unfortunately, they don't know anything about marketing.
No, it's a platform. It's not a converting machine. So the target market, when someone hits your website, they want to know immediately. Someone's just said target builders, renovators. Bam, you hit that site, that's what they want to know. Ours, it is largely business owners, senior decision makers who have a website that they're in the mindset of spending $3,000 to $30,000 on that particular website, and they're active and they're proactive and they're passionate. What's the headache? That's the second thing. Now, this is why those ads late at night are so effective that say, do you suffer from premature baldness? And guys like me go, yeah, I do. So what's the headache? In our world, the headache is you've got something and it's a website, or you want to have a website and it's not delivering traffic, you're afraid that it's going to end up a ghost town with coyotes howling in the distance and absolute tumbleweeds rolling through your pages because no one's going on it. You've got one that's not converting, or you're worried that it's converting. You've got one and it keeps requiring money, time, effort. It's unmanageable. It's a burden. Generally, either you got one and you're pretty disappointed, or if you're planning on getting one and you want to get it right from the outset. That's the headache. The solution, of course, in our world is that over 3 days, we're not going to just help you build a website. We're actually going to apply our expertise to give you so much more. So much more. So the second element, I should mention, when you're doing this sort of stuff on your website, so this is a page or your homepage, testimonials and case studies need to support those sorts of things. We're brand new in this particular one. All we can do is tell you about our history and some of the people that we've dealt with. But I think that you know us pretty well by now, so we're not going to go down that path. That was Marketing 101. Let's take it up a notch with what you get. Let's take it up with a notch with what you get, right? This is the second thing that anyone wants to know when they hit your website. They've gone, I am that target market. I have that headache. I see that you can offer me that solution. But what do I get? What do I get? And everyone is so vague with this stuff. Any lawyers on the line? Lawyers are the worst at this stuff. They say, you get me. Oh, gee, that's terrible. I hate that idea. Anyway, what you get, you break it down into this. Things, outcomes, feelings. Write that down. For some people, I reckon that this bit here is actually going to be the most powerful piece of advice over the entire 3-part series, because conversion is so outrageously important. What you get, things, outcomes, feelings. If you look at McDonald's, they don't just sell hamburgers. They sell 2 all-beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. Those are things. What are the outcomes? You satisfy my hunger. What are the feelings? I'm loving it. So what does our course look like? Well, as a thing, it's a 3-day workshop. But that's just like saying it's a hamburger, right?
Yeah.
So it's a 3-day workshop with 7 modules covering topics that will hone your traffic optimization skills, pimp your social media integration and monetization skills, get your sales funnel fundamentals in place, turn you into a content creator or curator. So instead of hiring a publicist, why not become a ninja guru, thought leader?
Writing awesome content.
Become
a key person of influence.
Yeah, a key person of influence. And of course, deliver you a brand new satellite or primary website. Those are things. When I talk about days, I talk about hours, I talk about units, I talk about modules. They're all things. And when I look at outcomes, just some of the things that I mentioned there. Hone your traffic optimization skills. So an outcome would be a site that organically is built to attract traffic. Right? If I talk about social media integration and monetization skills, I say a website that's built to interact with social media, that you can be exploiting social media not just to get the traffic, but to also monetize social media. What's the first lesson of social media? Get people off social media onto your website, into your sales funnel, into your meeting rooms. That's how you monetize social media. I said the sales funnel fundamentals. Okay, wouldn't it be nice to have your site have the fundamentals in place so that you can finesse and refine and look at the analytics and look at the data so that you can over time tweak and tweak and tweak and tweak so that you can get your conversions up high, so that you can be selling more stuff to more people, booking more meetings with more people, filling more rooms in restaurants in a 24-hour cycle. I mentioned content creator or curator. Once again, imagine if you are able to have the systems in place to be able to develop content easily and simply without it taking over your life. Yesterday, we sent you an ebook summary of last week's webinar. I kid you not, the assembly of that ebook, that cheat sheet, which is beautiful to look at, has a couple of typos, but I wanted to get it to you quickly, costs less than about $100 for me to produce in less than about 4 hours. I hired someone to listen to the webinar, write down the high points of which I sub-edited, and then I gave it to someone else to design using out-tasking tools like Odesk and Elance. They're amazing outcomes. And then, of course, that's, feelings. So if I'm talking about outcomes, a brand new satellite or premium website that's built for SEO, has a responsive design, does more than just look pretty, is super easy to update and tweak, but most importantly, leaves you feeling proud and excited and ready to smash 2014. Those are feelings. And feelings are powerful things. I'm sure when I said that, there's a couple people that were listening there that just went, I would love to give my embarrassing website an overhaul, and I would be so excited to be kicking goals in 2014. So, conversion copy on your website. Make over time. Someone just write it. Make over time. It's that time. Exactly. That time of year. But even if you're not interested in what we talked about, write down those 6 things. Please do, because you're just about to make your website conversion outcomes just go through the roof.
Pure gold.
Pure gold. And the other so testimonials and case studies, they support the first 3. Scarcity and urgency support the second 3. So we've talked about this. We've said that it's the first time that anyone's done anything like this in Australia that we're aware of. It's a massive undertaking. So, scarcity and urgency, ladies and gentlemen, we're limiting it to 10 people. A couple of reasons for that, because we want everyone in the room to get a rockin' result. At the end of those 3 days, we want people walking out, high-fiving, cheering, full of confidence, all the other stuff that's going to go with it. And we can't do that with 100 people in the room.
No, we want to be able to spend a lot of time with each person individually.
A lot of time with each person individually.
And get their site rocking, basically.
That's right. So that there is scarcity and urgency rolled into one. Of course, the important question that everybody's wondering, how much is this particular thing? We talked about it, and we've used the word investment because it is an investment. I mean,
it's an investment in yourself
investment in yourself and your business. If you want to be a thought leader, if you want to get the traffic, if you want to get the sales, that sort of stuff. And initially, we came up with a price that we're happy with, or we think that attendees would be happy with, and it's this price. Now, of course, this is our first time out, and we just talked about the idea of urgency. So scarcity is 10. Urgency is that if there are 5 people out there that are interested in doing this, working with us, we're going to do it with you over 3 days. For the first 5, $3,000. Now, I don't know anyone in Australia that offers a decent website for $3,000.
Yeah, and teach you how to use it.
And teach you how to use it and market, and not just focus on the building, but traffic optimization, social media integration, sales funnel fundamentals, content marketing, all those different things.
The exciting stuff.
All the exciting stuff. Because a website is a platform, but it's more than a platform, it's a business. It's actually, it needs to do all these things. It's not some pretty looking thing. So if you are interested, there we go. Someone said when is it running? Now, if you're from Melbourne, we're gonna have 3 days in mid-November. In Victoria, Melbourne, Victoria, 3 days in mid-November. And if there's enough demand there, we'll run another 3 days in Sydney in January. And if anyone else is out there and they're basically saying, I'm from Adelaide or I'm from Western Australia, we would love to bring it to you. So what we're going to say, yes, someone has said Adelaide. So what we would love to do, Brisbane, yes. What we would love you to do is we would love you to go to entrepreneurship.com.au/website. Now, we're not asking you to sign up unless you're really, really keen. First step is what we want you to do is go there and say, I think it's your name and your email and your phone number and your website, because we want to check out your websites, and say what capital city you are, and that there is I'm interested, but I need to know more. It's an expression of interest. Now, if you're super dead keen, it'll take you to a second page, and the second page will say, if you're super dead keen, pull out your credit card and we'll lock yourself in. But we don't want, we don't want to go that hard. We're not, we said, we don't like webinars, which are big seminars and all the other stuff that goes with it. So go there if you're interested, if you're keen. Go fill out that online form. No obligation. Even just if you're curious, go and do it. And we'll have 3 days in Victoria in November, and hopefully 3 days in Sydney in January if there's the demand.
It's going to be a game changer, I think.
We've been using that expression. I think I'm pretty excited about it because this is 5 years of my life and 5 years of your life.
Just testing,
culminating into it.
It's a science.
Yeah, and then distilling it into simple lessons that can be followed. So that there is what we're going to be doing. Now, it's 1:15. Next week we're going to be focusing on keywords. Keywords are the glue. How to pick them, where to place them, some gangster techniques, the process that we went through to devise how WordPress Support Australia was going to get its name, why entrepreneurship.com.au came about, and some other ones associated with that. Keywords are the glue. So we've gone through the fundamentals of understanding search engines and backlinks, owned, paid, earned, to bigger business issues like strategy, funnels, fundamentals of online marketing, conversions, to keywords are glue, and we're getting into some of the nitty-gritty cheats, tactics, techniques to find those keywords and where to place them. Now, if anyone has any questions, we're happy to hang around for another 15 minutes. Yep. We had a couple questions come up and things were moving a little bit too fast. Some of the same questions have come up again, when and where. We're going to start in Melbourne, Victoria. That's where we live.
Yep.
Then if there's demand, we'll run it in Sydney. I'm dying to come to Perth. If there's anyone else there,
yeah.
make it happen. Someone already wants to know the exact dates in November. Okay, the exact dates in November, if you need your diary, will be the 14th, 15th, and 16th, which is a Thursday and a Friday and a Saturday. They are our tentative dates for now. So they are our exact dates, but we're also mindful that we'd like to see what works for other people. It's a new product, as my friend Glenn Carlson likes to say, sharpen your business on the millstone of the market. We'd like to know what's going to work for you. Questions. Are there any questions out there? Sure, if they relate to the course, keep them coming relating to the course. But if you've got some other questions that other people want to know, let's go back and see if we missed any of the ones. Darren has said, if you want to use a video on site, you can check out Video Hype, which is the same part of the company that does Theme Forest. So Theme Forest is an Australian company. It's brilliant. You've probably never heard of them because the Australian media are so terrible when it comes to promoting successful entrepreneurs. But yeah, Theme Forest is part of Envato, which is part of Video Hive, which is part of
Photojune,
Code Canyon,
Graphic River.
What's the audio one? Audio Jungle.
That's it.
You buy a sound file and it's going Audio Jungle.
It's awesome for like
Audio Jungle.
Podcasts, started videos,
started stuff. These are some of the little tools that we use to be able to accelerate what it is that we're doing all the time. When using a keyword-rich domain, what does that mean? You have to market that domain plus your original site. All right, you've got an original site, and it's called, say, Anthill. Like Anthill is my brand. It's my core brand. I go out there. It's on my business cards. It's what's on the banners at events. It's what my Facebook fan page is named after and all the other stuff. But there was a URL called entrepreneurship.com.au, and it was getting a heck of a lot more organic visits than my own site. And check it out when you go to entrepreneurship.com.au/website, fill out the form that it provides you with, then hit the logo and go back to the homepage, and you'll see that it's a beautiful, elegant, responsive website that I designed as a tools resource landing site, a tools resource for entrepreneurs who need tools. And I'm adding to it all the time. I'm doing what Google likes. I'm enriching the internet.
Customers are going to come from different sources, and this is just another way to get to them through, search in Google. And
yeah, they're going to come. They're going to come to you different ways. They're going to want to engage with you in different ways. WordPress Support Australia, completely different structure and strategy, because we went, let's start a business from the outset. We've branded that WPSA.
Yep.
WordPress Support Australia, because guess what, folks? We called it WordPress Support Australia because there was a rockin' traffic magnet type of domain. But we also bought, yes, WordPress Support America. Same brand, WPSA, for the same reasons to go do that.
And that keyword is based around a headache as well. People who are typing into Google WordPress support, they have an itch they need to scratch.
They are.
They're targeted. They're highly targeted.
They're highly targeted. Next week we're going to talk more about, when we talk about keywords, we're going to be talking about headaches as a spoiler alert for everyone. Because when people go out there and they start to keyword their site, they end up using terrible words which are industry-based and jargon-based, when if you can come up with words and phrases that are headache-rich, such as I need WordPress support, or even what is WordPress? It's a different thing. Karen said, can you explain what a success page is? I'll tell you what it is. Hey, Karen, have you got anywhere on your website right now that someone could subscribe to something? An email newsletter, a download, an opt-in page, anything like that? Does anyone buy anything on your website? What can they sign up for? Yes, on our contacts and gallery page. So they've signed up for something, such as contact us, which, as I said before, I think is a bit of a slightly weak way for someone to invite someone to engage with you. It's not solving a headache. It's not demonstrating that you understand who your target market is. It's not offering any real solution. It's saying, contact us. But imagine someone fills out that contact us page, and instead of it saying thanks, it directs them to another page that says, success. Thank you for your request. You have unlocked a short video on how to get something done. And that there would enable your visitor to build rapport with you. Instead of having a coffee shop meeting, perhaps they're like watching that video, they're getting to know you, they're getting to understand you. What else could be on that page, Mark?
Downloads.
Downloads?
Free downloads to really build the rapport.
Like us on Facebook?
Yeah, like us on Facebook. It's not where they have to make an action. I think the main part is the fact that you can start to track that page with conversions. That's the goal page.
Well, that's the other thing about it. When you're using Google Analytics, you actually use the URL of that page to track the ultimate goal of someone's actions. So there's only one reason why anyone ever appears on that success page, and that's just because they've just signed up for your email newsletter. So you can track that using the Google Analytics tool. But you have someone download a free ebook, and then they land on the success page, and it says bonus. Here's a coupon to get 20% off our latest product. And someone goes, wow, I've decided to trust you. We've already built a little bit of rapport. I'm in an active and engaged frame of mind. Why don't I use this coupon now?
It's an upsell tactic.
It is. It's an upsell tactic. In the next couple minutes before we wind up, I'm actually going to share a technique that Antil used. This changed our world. We increased our online sales by 800%, right? So if we were selling magazine subscriptions and we were getting 100 a month, we increased it to 800 a month. And it was as simple as this. We took away all the buttons that said buy, 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 and we replaced those buttons with subscribe to our free email newsletter. We acted like Barry White, and we invited them to buy us a cup of coffee. When they subscribed, they landed on another page, a success page, that said, success. Would you like to know a secret? Use the coupon code SECRET and get 25% off a subscription to Antil magazine. Now, this was when we were a print magazine. It was as simple as that, folks. That is a living, breathing, direct example of a Barry White seduction strategy. Not asking someone to marry you on the first date, but inviting them to engage with you, land on a success page, offer them something more. There we go, folks. I think you've listened to us long enough. We look forward to seeing you next week where we focus on keywords. Keywords are the glue.
They are.
You've been lots and lots of fun, proactive and engaged. As always,
thank you for coming, guys.
Thank you for coming.
See you next week.
Check out the URL, entrepreneurship.com.au/website. Signing off.